yeah, we want retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution. Yeah, we ran out of patience for your love with the cold hard hatred. I can feel the vibration, feet in the streets, it's a new sensation. I wanna break faces on the pavement. I wanna make greatness look complacent. Adrenaline awakened, I can taste it. We can make an impact, grab and then take it. Like a disease, bring them to their knees. Thanks 'cause they're deceived. Just like the wind.
The weather's actually pretty nice, I'm not gonna lie. I'm actually liking this slightly warmer December weather. Although, people are always going to claim global warming. Who gives a fuck about global warming? The winter fucking sucks, especially here in New Jersey. I prefer the summer, even though we do get blazing hot days that make you feel like the Wicked Witch of the West, make you feel like you're fucking melting. But regardless of that, I'm guessing that many of you already know what time it is. You check your calendars, you see the day, and you look very closely, you could see that it's Saturday. And you know what that means. We're live, ladies and gentlemen. I'm the one and only DJ Storms, and I would like to welcome each and every single one of you back here to the greatest fucking show on earth, as we are streaming live on 3 different platforms across 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different accounts. I'm feeling it. I am feeling it today. Thank you very much for tuning on in and spending your Saturday afternoons with me as per usual. And as of course, you already know who I am, Mr. Controversy and the operator of the best damn X, formerly known as Twitter, handle, Hold on. Stop what you are doing. Stop what you're doing, everybody. And I just want you to take a big inhale, and I want you to feel that inhale and feel the air rolling through your lungs. And I just want you to take that deep breath. I want you to go, oh, one more time, please. Oh, last time, I promise. I just really want you to feel this because it is the greatest feeling. It is the greatest scent that you will ever smell. Oh, shit. Do you smell that? Do you know what that is? Oh, do you know what that is? I'll tell you what that is. That right there is the smell of pure motherfucking excellence. Wait for it. Wait for it. To mankind. Yeah, this is the official Lightning Flash update for Saturday, December 9th, 2023. And we are set for yet another fucking amazing episode of the Lightning Flash update. And you're damn right, that intro energy is massive today. I'm telling you, I always got that massive energy because no one else does it like me. Absolutely no one does an introduction like me. Damn right, Dee. The force is strong. This is the official Lightning Flash update for December 9th, and I thank you all for spending your Saturday afternoons with me. We have a lot of important topics to discuss here on the Lightning Flash update as we sit just 7 hours away from Deadline. Deadline, of course, is streaming live tonight on the Peacock, that is. Get your mind out of the gutter, you fucking savages. Peacock, tonight from Bridgeport, Connecticut, starting at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. That is, of course, when the pre-show starts. Looking like a decent card, I'm not going to lie. And if they play their cards right, I think this could be a really, really, really good show, especially the two Iron Survivor challenges. And oddly enough, I don't know why, but oddly enough, I'm actually looking forward to Baron Corbin versus Ilya Dragunov because Baron Corbin, he's actually been doing really, really, really well on NXT. He's put on some great matches with the likes of Braun Breaker and Wes Lee and Carmelo Hayes. So I'm actually interested in seeing what Baron Corbin does. I don't think it's going to be as good as his Carmelo Hayes match on NXT, but that's just me. That's just me. Thank you very much for tuning on in. You guys are great. Thank you very much to the Final Hoss and Anya, Sarah Hapka, Peanuts, Hooligram, Dee. You guys are all fantastic. You guys are all fantastic. Of course, a couple of announcements. Please make sure, if you haven't already done so, make sure that you are set and ready for tomorrow, because tomorrow I will be going live again for the rewind for NXT Deadline. We got a busy week coming up, including the rewind for NXT Deadline. That is tomorrow at 2 p.m. We're going to be going over everything that takes place tonight. It's the final NXT event of the year, the final PLE of the year for WWE as well. And then on Thursday, next Thursday, on December 14th, Hooligram is going to be coming back to the channel. Hooligram's got a busy weekend ahead of him next week because he's going to be on my channel back-to-back streams. He's going to be on the rundown for Ring of Honor Final Battle on Thursday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. And then he's going to be on the rewind for Final Battle on Sunday, December 17th at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. So you guys are going to want to set your notifications because Hooligram taking over my channel once again. Hooligram is going to end his 2023 on a high note by streaming with DJ Shizzle Dizzle. Of course, please make sure, if you have not already done so, please make sure that you follow me on social media, on X and Instagram at HistoryMakerDJS. Once again, that is at HistoryMakerDJS, both on Twitter and Instagram. You can also add my personal Facebook for collaborations and business inquiries. Please make sure that you send me an email. My email is, of course, stormstakeover@gmail.com. Please make sure that you like the official DJ Storms business page, which we are live on right now. And I made you send you an invite to join the official DJ Storms Posse group on Facebook, that is. All of those links are in the description of this very stream, whether you're watching on Facebook or YouTube. Please make sure, if you have not already done so, go and check out the rundown for NXT Deadline with Cherry. Cherry made her appearance this past Tuesday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. So you are going to want to go and check that out because she actually did very, very well. I did not know what I was getting myself into. It was the first time that I ever collaborated with her one-on-one, and she's actually very, very knowledgeable at what she does. She's a Drew McIntyre mark, I'll tell you that, but she is a very, very nice individual, and she brought a lot of good topics to the table. We had a very nice stream on Tuesday. Go and check that out if you missed it after the Lightning Flash update is over. On top of that, please make sure, if you have not already done so, like the stream, no matter where you're watching it on, whether you're watching it on X, Facebook, or YouTube. And of course, share the stream out on all platforms of social media, whether it be Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Pinterest, Tumblr, Snapchat, TikTok, Twitch, whatever social media platforms that you may be using, because everyone needs their dose of DJ Storms, because it is a known fact that I make people's lives better because I speak objectively, not subjectively. Something that Jay Leto does not know how to do. On top of that, I also want to shout out some sponsorships. Some sponsorships including Brittany K. Brittany K is a wonderful woman. She's a good friend of mine, big supporter of the brand. She does beautifully crafted designs of professional wrestlers from scratch on her iPad. And she also does Twitter Avies and banners. So if you guys are looking for a new Avie or banner, or if you're just looking for a great professional wrestling drawing or design, she is your girl. Go hit her up. Her X account is BrittanyK5150, while her Instagram account is Brittany K Designs. And then, of course, I want to give a shout out to Corporate Information Systems. With more than 4 decades of experience, Corporate Information Systems is recognized by Forbes as one of America's best recruiting firms. They specialize in providing recruiting solutions to companies in a variety of industries, such as high tech, food and beverage, construction, and medical devices. Now, finding the right candidates can be a time-consuming and challenging process, which is why CIS offers a wide range of services designed to make your recruitment process easier and more efficient. They provide a seamless and stress-free experience for both clients and candidates. So if you are looking for a trusted recruiting partner to help fulfill your hiring needs or to help advance your career, please go and contact my friends over at Corporate Information Systems. You can check out their website, www.cisrecruiters.com. Once again, www.cisrecruiters.com. Corporate Information Systems, placing talent where it can thrive. Let me take a little sip of my ice water right here. Of course, this is ultra important right here. You gotta hit the subscribe button. Whether you're watching on my YouTube channel or the Hardcore Sports YouTube channel, because we are looking to be number one. I'm already number one because no one does it like I do. No one can do what I do at the level that I do. Shout out to Crowbar right there. But Hardcore Sports, we're looking to be the number one brand in all of sports analytics. We are on the road to 1,000 subscribers on the Hardcore Sports channel. So please go and check out the Hardcore Sports channel if you have not already done so. It is very, very vital that you do so that way we may continue to grow and continue to gain more eyes as the weeks turn into months, which turn into years. Of course, please make sure, if you have not already done so, if you've already subscribed, you got to hit that notifications bell with a huge coup de grace, because that way you're going to know whenever I pop up on YouTube. Because whenever I pop up on YouTube, you already know what's coming. Oh, baby, it is the absolute best time to be on YouTube. You know why? Because it is the only time that you're going to get to see this oh so glorious sideburn shin strap combination and this beautiful mustache right here. You know what time it is. Hold on. It's in here. Hold on. It's somewhere. I'm trying to get it. It's like over the valley, through the loop, and oh yes. Look at that right there. Beautifully crafted, magical ace black comb. Hold on a minute. Oh my God. I gotta blow on it because it is so goddamn sizzlating, and we're gonna let it up right here on the Lightning Flash Update, the greatest motherfucking show on earth with the greatest facial hair on the planet. A little and a dash of and a whole lot of because like hot fresh pizza right out of the oven, that oh so crispy crust. Gotta have the cheese-filled crust. That right there, that's the best kind of pizza, with that cheese-filled crust. Maybe a meatball pizza. I like me a meatball pizza. Maybe a penne vodka pizza. Gotta mix it up every now and then. But you already know, just like all those types of pizzas, I am just so good. I am succulent. I am the tastiest snack in the IWC, and everybody wants a piece of the Storms Meister. You already know the drill. You already know the drill. Anyway, enough of the self-brand promotion and the advertisements. Why don't we get straight into the festivities here on the Lightning Flash update? Got our news, rumors, and reports going around. I got a report concerning NXT. If many of you do not watch NXT TV on a weekly basis, I do not blame you. The show absolutely sucks rhinoceros cock. But regardless, I do have a bit more of a serious report when it comes to NXT. According to PW Insider, Wesley's injury, and if you guys were paying attention, Wesley announced that he is in pain. He came out with a walker on NXT TV on Tuesday, and he says that he has a legitimate back injury. He has a legitimate back injury that's going to require surgery in time, and PW Insider reported that it is 100% legitimate. It is not a work. He is set to undergo back surgery, and he will be out for the next 8 to 12 months. Now, that right there sucks. That right there sucks. Wesley, as we speak, Wesley is probably one of the most genuine baby faces that the WWE has right now. There's a lot of baby faces in WWE that they tend to just force down our throats, and most of the time it comes off as nauseating. One of them specifically is Cody Rhodes. Everyone always knows Cody Rhodes. Adrenaline in my soul. Whoa, here comes Cody Rhodes. Coming out just so people could sing. Oh! Everybody knows Cody Rhodes. But Wesley, he doesn't have all of these $1 million suits. He doesn't have the $1 million smile. He doesn't have the annoyingly catchy theme song. Wesley and his rise to being a genuine babyface, it came so naturally. It came so naturally. They never overexposed Wesley. They never tried to make Wesley into something that he's not. Wesley rose to prominence, and he is absolutely, in my eyes, there's no doubt about it, Wesley is the greatest North American champion that we've ever had. Wesley, easily the greatest North American champion that we've seen. What he's done with the North American Championship is something that not many people have done. He's a very, very special talent. You could say that Wesley is what Ricochet really should be on WWE TV as we speak. But he's not, because of shit booking. But Wesley, if there's one thing that Shawn Michaels has gotten right, it's Wesley. I'm not really sure what caused this back injury. It was not specified, but all I can hope for is that Wesley comes back better than ever. He comes back as quick as possible, because Wesley, without a shadow of a doubt, should be one of the future pillars of WWE. Wesley is a man that you build your brand around as a top babyface. He just has that aura about him that makes you want to root for him. So I wish Wesley the best in his road to recovery. Speaking of injury, there was an injury angle on Raw, which we will talk about when we get to the Raw review. There was an injury angle on Monday Night Raw that was a work. And that has to do with Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn, he tweaked his ankle. He tweaked his ankle during his match with Drew McIntyre to kick off the show. And Drew McIntyre targeted the ankle and then attacked it in the back after their match was over while Sami Zayn was receiving medical attention. Drew McIntyre then stomped on the injured ankle of Sami Zayn. And it seems, according to the Wrestling Observer newsletter, that Sami Zayn has been written off of television for the foreseeable future. Now, he's been written off of television because, according to reports, he requested some time off. I actually don't mind the fact that Sami Zayn requested some time off. Sami Zayn, he's been going pretty hard this year. Sami Zayn, he came off one of the biggest storylines in WWE history of this era with the Bloodline and Kevin Owens. And then he had a tag team title reign with Kevin Owens. Then he recently went into War Games alongside Cody Rhodes, Jey Uso, Randy Orton, and Seth Rollins. So needless to say, Sami Zayn has probably had one of the busiest years that he's ever had in his entire career. So I I really don't blame him for wanting some time off. Everybody needs some time off to recharge their batteries. And you know what? Nothing's really going on right now. WWE TV really isn't going to start picking up until after the holidays. Because whether you want to admit it or not, WWE, they always get lazy around this time. I mean, just look at what we got for SmackDown. SmackDown last night was horrible outside of CM Punk. WWE TV right now doesn't have anything going for it. So in the end, Sami Zayn wanting some time off, it's really going to come off as a non-factor. The only thing that's really going to be affected is Monday Night Raw is not going to feel as good as it usually is because Sami Zayn has been a very, very vital part of making Monday Night Raw somewhat tolerable, especially for the 3 hours that it goes. Sami Zayn easily has been one of the MVPs of Monday Night Raw all year. Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens, easily two of the top MVPs on WWE TV since the start of the year. This has been one of Sami Zayn's biggest and most important years of his career. So I'm telling you, his absence is going to be felt. But considering CM Punk is there, I'd like to hope that CM Punk will at least give us somewhat of substance on Monday Night Raw. He gave us a little bit of substance on SmackDown last night, so I'd like to hope that he will give us something to look forward to on Monday Night Raw while Sami Zayn is away. And when Sami Zayn comes back, then we'll have two things to look forward to on Raw, Sami Zayn and CM Punk. Sticking with Monday Night Raw, according to WrestleVotes, Jey Uso will not be using his signature catchphrase, yeet, anymore. And they tweeted out during Raw, and I quote, "As evident on Raw just now, I'm told WWE has found trademark issues with Jey Uso's yeet. The word and merchandising will no longer be associated with Uso going forward." End quote. Now, what is the issue? How is it trademarked? Well, apparently, there's an independent professional wrestler named Casey Huffman, and he filed a trademark for the term yeet and the yeet movement in 2021, and both are related to his professional wrestling persona. As a result, the WWE will seemingly be distancing itself from the word. Now, I'm not sure what you're thinking right here, but if an independent wrestler has it trademarked, why doesn't WWE just buy the trademark? Can you buy a trademark? I do not know all the specifics behind trademarking and buying the rights to certain things. I don't know any of that information. I'd have to do some research on that. But can trademarks be bought? I mean, to me, it seems like almost anything can be bought nowadays. If WWE really wanted to, couldn't they just pay Casey Huffman how many millions that they want to pay him? Hell, if anything, you don't even have to give him $1 million. Give him fucking $50,000, $75,000. He's an indie wrestler. He's an indie wrestler. How much money do you honestly need to pay him in order to use his catchphrase? I will say this, though. Casey Huffman, if they do pay him, he's going to be fucking set for life. He's going to be fucking set for life. Yeah, Hooligan, give him $150K. There you go. Give him $150K, buy the rights, and boom. You're set. Now, I did take notice on X that Jey Uso did tweet out the word yeet with a blue heart around it. I'm not really sure if that's a goodbye to the term yeet. I'm not sure if that means that they did buy the rights, but apparently, according to WrestleVotes, they are going to be distancing themselves from the phrase yeet going forward. I really hope that that's not the case. I really hope Jey Uso talks to them or they work out some deal with Casey Huffman and they're able to buy the trademark for him. Because Jey Uso, even though he doesn't necessarily need the catchphrase, it has become very, very, very over with the WWE audience. Every single time Jey Uso delivers a punch, they're going yeet, yeet, yeet. So much so, I'm actually saying it around my house to my father. I really do hope that they work some shit out. I got a word on Sting's retirement. Sting's retirement, as we know, is taking place at Revolution 2024. That is going to be in the Greensboro Coliseum in Greensboro, North Carolina. That is going to be taking place on Sunday, March 3rd. Now, Tony Khan, he actually revealed on the New York Post that he actually pitched the idea of Sting retiring next year at All In 2024. Sting ultimately rejected that idea, and he told Tony Khan in October that he felt that he had a good 6 months left in him. To be quite honest with you, I'm actually happy that he's not retiring at All In. You don't need Sting's retirement to sell All In. You don't need Sting's retirement to help sell tickets. You take a look at what happened. They already sold nearly 40,000 tickets and were 9 months away from All In. They sold nearly 40,000 tickets as we speak, and we are nearly 8 months away from All In. That alone right there proves to me they don't need Sting's retirement to help sell tickets. If they sold nearly half of Wembley Stadium thus far, I think they're going to be doing just fine. All they need to do right now is they need to continue on the path that they're continuing on, and they need to make sure that they promote the shit out of All In. Do the same things that you did last year. Promote the fuck out of it. Put it up with all these banners. Make media appearances. Do all that bullshit and get to work. That's all you need to do. But as far as Sting's retirement happening at Revolution, this actually makes Revolution feel more important. And that I can appreciate. I enjoy when we have the overall aspect of a pay-per-view feel important. I don't like this concept of, oh, you got to save the big matches for the big pay-per-views, like a Royal Rumble or a WrestleMania or an All In or a SummerSlam. I love the concept of make every single pay-per-view feel as important as possible. I did not like how WWE placed together Fastlane and Payback. Now, Fastlane and Payback were two decent pay-per-views. They were two solid pay-per-views, but the overall build towards them and the overall aura around them did not feel all that important. It wasn't until we actually got to the event that it actually started to feel a bit more like a pay-per-view. I enjoy when every single pay-per-view, every single special event that a company puts on when it comes to pro wrestling, I enjoy an overall aura of, oh, it's a pay-per-view, no matter what time of the year, whether it's March, whether it's August, whether it's June, whether it's October, whether it's December. I enjoy every pay-per-view being built up like an important show. And Sting's retirement being on Revolution, that makes Revolution feel that much more important. And that I can appreciate. So I'm actually glad that it's not taking place at All In 2024 because they don't need that. All In 2024, I got 2 matches. Hell, 3 matches I can throw out there right now. 3 matches that you need in order to make All In 2024 a major show. Will Ospreay, Swerve Strickland for the AEW World Championship. Kenny Omega versus either Kazuchika Okada or Bryan Danielson. And then maybe if you want to, you can throw in MJF, Adam Cole in a street fight. And that right there, those are your 3 matches that you can headline All In with. Ospreay, Swerve, Omega versus either Bryan or Okada, and then MJF and Adam Cole street fight. That's how you sell All In. Speaking of Kazuchika Okada, according to Sports Illustrated's Justin Barrasso, Kazuchika Okada is actually set to become a free agent after Wrestle Kingdom is over. He would be a monumental loss for New Japan Professional Wrestling. Now, I, honest to God, don't know what Okada's mindset is. But if I'm going to be quite honest with you, I do not see Kazuchika Okada leaving New Japan Pro Wrestling. Kazuchika Okada is rumored to become a free agent. There are certain people in WWE that think that they could get Okada. I don't see it. They did not capitalize on the opportunity when they had Shinsuke Nakamura. All you need to do is look at what happened with Nakamura. You think Okada let that fly underneath the radar? Even if Vince McMahon is not in control anymore, all Okada needs to do is look over at what WWE did with Shinsuke Nakamura, and he's going to give WWE an automatic no. And then on top of that, Okada and his wife recently just had their first child. So why would he leave Japan? Why would he take his wife and his child to Japan just when they've settled into their new home? Even if he does sign with AEW. Right now, the partnership with AEW and New Japan is going to remain as it is. I do not see Kazuchika Okada going anywhere. I'd say that he resigns after Wrestle Kingdom is over. Now, does that mean that he's not going to appear on any other company? No. I mean, we saw what just happened with Kazuchika Okada and TNA. They recently just announced that Kazuchika Okada is going to be at the TNA tapings. So you know for a fact that it is going to be big. You know for a fact that it's going to be a big year for Okada. I'm not really sure how they're going to work that out, but either way, I can absolutely see Kazuchika Okada in a major match on AEW TV, probably at All In. I can absolutely see Kazuchika Okada and Kenny Omega one-on-one on American soil. It has to happen. That match needs to happen on American soil before both of their careers are over. It has to. There's no way that you can go your entire career without doing one-on-one Kazuchika Okada and Kenny Omega on American soil. You can't. It needs to happen. I got a report regarding a potential NXT call-up. And according to the Wrestling Observer newsletter, there has been talks of Tyler Bate moving to the WWE's main roster. And it could potentially be as soon as next week on SmackDown. If you guys have been paying attention, the United States Championship #1 Contenders Tournament has one surprise individual that is going to be entering the tournament from NXT. It's going to be a hand-picked NXT superstar by Shawn Michaels. He's fighting Grayson Waller. I don't know about you guys, but I can absolutely, I can see Tyler Bate being the guy to do it. That right there would be a very nice way to introduce Tyler Bate. And Tyler Bate could, honest to God, be a breath of fresh air. Tyler Bate could be a breath of fresh air. Now, we already have Butch and Ridge Holland. They are at odds right now. It looks like the Brawling Brutes are going to break up. I'm not really sure what's going to go on with Sheamus. If anything, I would not be shocked if Sheamus ends up leaving the WWE to go to AEW. But as far as Butch goes, I would not be shocked at all if Butch reverts back to Pete Dunne and Tyler Bate joins up with Pete Dunne and they are a tag team going forward. That right there could very well be something that helps both of their careers. And maybe, if they want to, if it's not DIY taking the titles off of the Judgment Day, you can absolutely build up British Strong Style, Pete Dunne and Tyler Bate, to take the titles off of Judgment Day when the time is right. There's a lot of different ways that you can go with Tyler Bate. Keep him as a single star. Maybe you can put him with Pete Dunne, make him a tag team. Either way, it is going to be a breath of fresh air for Tyler Bate to go on SmackDown, and it is going to make that show just a little bit better. You already got Dragon Lee on the show, and Dragon Lee is great at what he does. Putting Tyler Bate on that show, SmackDown is going to have a nice wide variety of youth down there. You got Austin Theory, Grayson Waller, Pete Dunne, Tyler Bate, Dragon Lee. Lot of really good young talent that you can build that show around. So I'm looking forward to that if that is the case. And to be quite honest with you, there's actually a small part of me that hopes it is Tyler Bate. We'll see what happens. Here's the big one. And I know a lot of you were waiting for this. The big one right here. AEW. From a quality standpoint, AEW has actually been picking up a decent amount of steam coming out of Full Gear, which was a great show. However, we have seen that the ratings and the ticket sales have not reflected on the good shows that we've gotten. One thing that has caused negative vibes to brew within the AEW Locker Room was the recent firing of Kevin Sullivan. Dave Meltzer stated that Kevin Sullivan was let go by the company earlier this week. Sullivan worked as the vice president of post-production. There were a lot of questions going around regarding what happened, past the feeling that the original AEW has changed greatly. Cultaholic actually came out with a report stating that there was a lot of negativity and unhappiness within AEW following Sullivan's firing as the head of post-production. The report stated that AEW has, and I quote, changed, and it's become something that it wasn't. Meltzer even added on top of this by discussing AEW's low ticket sales and ratings. And those low ticket sales and ratings have actually caused negative vibes to brew backstage, even though the company is making more money than ever. There's a lot to dissect here. There's a lot to dissect, and there's a lot to go over. I'm probably going to end up spending 30 fucking minutes on this as it is. But before anything, I just want to reiterate something. I need to make something clear so there is no confusion. There's no confusion amongst anyone that watches this. Ratings, ticket sales, all this other bullshit doesn't matter. Doesn't matter, and I will continue to reiterate that. I don't give a fuck about it, and neither should you. The only thing that concerns me is the quality of the show. I don't give a fuck how much tickets they're selling, how many tickets they're not selling, who's watching, who's not watching. They're not going out of business. Doesn't matter what happens, they're not going out of business. AEW will be just fine. However, I am going to discuss what needs to be done to fix this, because I will tell you this, even though they're still putting on good shows, and listen, if you're going to deny that they're not putting on good shows, then you're a complete fucking retard. I don't give a shit who you are. They're still putting on good shows. Collision is still good most of the time. Dynamite is still good most of the time. Rampage is hit or miss here or there. The pay-per-views are flawless. The pay-per-views are damn near flawless. But there is a clear-cut change within AEW, and it's been pretty prominent over the course of the last year and a half, I would say, nearly 2 years. The change has been very, very, very prominent. We're going to explain that. I'm going to dissect it, and I'm going to give everyone the best possible analysis. What is the cause of these low ticket sales and ratings? What changed within AEW? Some people are blaming the economy. Some people are blaming the economy because the economy is absolute shit right now. The economy is absolute shit right now thanks to that fucking shithead Joe Biden in office. And see, that's what happens when you certify a fake election. At the end of the day, the economy is terrible. No matter how you want to twist it, no matter how you want to spin it, the economy sucks. Especially in New Jersey. New Jersey has the highest property taxes out of any fucking state in the country. Sucks. However, the economy being horrible is a very, very minuscule reason as to why AEW is suffering right now. That's not even 5% of the reason. At the end of the day, you take a look at WWE, the economy is absolute shit, but WWE is selling out most of the time. Why is WWE selling out and AEW is not? One of the biggest factors that attributed to AEW's success, and I can't even believe that I'm going to say it, but if you think about it, if you actually think about it, this is true. If you actually think about it, it's actually scary how accurate this is. And this is probably the biggest external factor. One of the biggest external factors that attributed to AEW's success was Vince McMahon. Vince McMahon was just so bad Vince McMahon was so fucking terrible at writing for Raw and SmackDown. His creative was just complete dog shit to a point in which we could not stomach WWE TV. Vince McMahon's creative was just so fucking garbage that we were looking for an escape. NXT Black and Gold was our escape. And then they were put on the USA Network. And within 6 months, Vince McMahon was inserting his own brand of entertainment, or his brand of a lack of entertainment. His lack of entertainment was inserted into NXT. Charlotte Flair won the NXT Women's title. We had people getting fast-tracked to the NXT championships like Karrion Kross, and NXT just completely lost its grip on long-term storytelling. NXT became a shell of its former self, and then they completely revamped it, and NXT 2.0 came into effect. NXT Black and Gold was our escape when Vince McMahon was just shitting all over professional wrestling. And then NXT was destroyed out of pettiness. NXT was destroyed out of pettiness by Vince McMahon. Vince McMahon did not give a shit if NXT succeeded or failed on the USA Network. He figured, hey, if I can't destroy AEW, then you know what? I'm going to end up getting revenge on my son-in-law because no one upstages me. Nobody upstages the almighty Vince, pal. Vince McMahon killed NXT. Absolutely destroyed it. And now you take a look at NXT. NXT is a complete shit show most weeks. AEW became our escape. AEW became our safe haven. The whole premise of what AEW was founded on was to give individuals the opportunities that Vince McMahon would not give them. Well, Vince McMahon was completely squandering some of the best talent in the world, talent like Pac, talent like Andrade, talent like Aleister Black, talent like Ricochet, talent like the Viking Raiders, so on and so forth. While Vince McMahon was completely squandering talent like that, AEW, they were succeeding. They were giving people opportunities that would have never gotten the opportunities in WWE. You take a look at AEW's roster, there's no reason why Jack Perry couldn't succeed in WWE. There's no reason why Darby Allin can't succeed in WWE. There's no reason why Omega or the Bucks or Pac or Swerve Strickland or El Hijo del Vikingo, people like that, Private Party, people like Hangman Page, people like Sammy Guevara, people like MJF. There's no reason why they can't succeed in WWE. The only reason why they wouldn't succeed in WWE is because of Vince McMahon and his out-of-touch mentality. AEW became the safe haven for us to escape the absolute bullshit, the dog shit booking of Vince McMahon. And then he retired. July 2022 came around, Vince McMahon retired. And that was step one. Step one towards making the WWE product better. And Triple H took over. Triple H became the head of creative. And fans, they gravitated towards that because the fans never wanted WWE to fail. The smart fans, the real wrestling fans, wanted better. There's no excuse as to why WWE should be failing at putting on good shows when they have undoubtedly the best roster that they've ever had in the history of their company. But NXT Black and Gold, they became our safe haven, and then AEW became the safe haven when Black and Gold was killed. There's no reason why Triple H was putting on a better show with a less well-known roster in NXT Black and Gold, while Vince McMahon had the bigger stars and he was putting on a shit show. In many aspects, you could say from a wrestling standpoint that NXT Black and Gold was actually better than the Attitude Era. And then AEW gave us a glimpse of that. Then Triple H took over and fans became hopeful. People with a brain knew, and I know, that it's not going to be fixed overnight. The WWE has suffered nearly irreparable damage. The damage that WWE has suffered has been astronomically bad. And Triple H Triple H has a lot of work ahead of him, but the fans have been seeing glimpses of what Triple H can do. More wrestling on Monday Night Raw, better storylines, more seriousness, less sports entertainment. You take a look at WrestleMania this year. WrestleMania was largely Triple H this year. And Triple H, he gave us what was probably one of the best WrestleManias in many, many years. It may have been one of the best WrestleManias since WrestleMania 17 or WrestleMania 18 or WrestleMania 19. Those were the last really good WrestleManias where you could say, oh man, these shows are must watch. Probably the best WrestleMania in the last 2-3 decades. It was amazing. This year's WrestleMania was a fantastic 2-night event. And a big factor of that is because of Triple H. Then you take a look at AEW. What exactly is Tony Khan doing that Triple H is not doing? What exactly is Tony Khan putting out there that Triple H is not putting out there? Triple H is now doing the same thing that Tony Khan is doing. Now, it's not just, AEW's putting on great shows and WWE's putting on shit shows. Now, it's about which shows are better. Now, it's really about the quality. Now, you really got to focus in on that quality. It is very, very scary to even think about, but you could say that Vince McMahon made AEW stronger. Vince McMahon made AEW stronger because WWE was just so bad that they were pretty much handing their fans over to WWE. And AEW, they became the #1 pro wrestling destination in the world. They proved that alternatives matter. They proved that you do not need this mainstream attention. You do not need the big bright lights and the over-polished stages. You don't need all this crazy shit in order to be successful. All you need is great pro wrestling and simple storytelling. Now that Triple H has been knighted by R. Emanuel, Vince McMahon thought he was slick. Vince McMahon thought he could regain creative power. Vince McMahon thought he could regain creative power by selling the company to Endeavor. He sold the company to Endeavor. Ari Emanuel removed him from the creative room and gave all the power to Triple H. Now that Triple H is in full control of WWE and nothing can stop him, that right there is a major, and I mean a major threat to AEW's success. It's crazy to think about. It's crazy to admit. I didn't even realize it back in the day. I didn't even realize it back in the day, but the more that I think about it, the more I realize that Vince McMahon was one of the major reasons for AEW's success because of how bad his shows were, that AEW was automatically knighted as #1. Now that Triple H is in control, now it's a much different story. That is the external problem. There's more internal problems than external problems. Let's talk about promotion. Promotion is one of AEW's biggest problems as we speak. We can go back and forth with WWE, and we can claim that they give us the same matches over and over again and all this other shit, or they tend to get lazy, which they do. WWE at its core is a lazy company, but when it comes to their promotional skills, WWE is second to none. Even though Tony Khan has produced some great wrestling shows, even though we get great pay-per-views, we get great dynamites, we get great collisions, AEW's promotional skills are horrible. AEW's promotional skills absolutely fucking suck. I mean, they suck. I don't know what they're doing, but all they do is promote on social media. This is one thing that they could actually take from WWE. This is one piece of advice that they should take from WWE. WWE has specific promotional and marketing teams that travel to all of these different markets, up north, down south, east, west. They do international promotion, Canada, Puerto Rico, Europe, Australia. Well, look at what we had back in September. Back in September, WWE announced the Elimination Chamber coming to Perth, Australia. And for 3 weeks, we had WWE PR and WWE superstars going to Perth, Australia. Rhea Ripley was taken off of TV. And Rhea Ripley went to Australia for 3 weeks. What do you think she was doing for 3 weeks? You think she was just playing footsies with Buddy Matthews? No, Rhea Ripley was working. Rhea Ripley was helping promote Elimination Chamber. And it's because of that promotional skills that the Elimination Chamber is going to sell thousands and thousands and thousands of tickets. That's how you do it. You need to do face-to-face meetups. Face-to-face meetups, newspaper ads, flyers, media appearances. Look at what happened with Grand Slam. Grand Slam, on the day of the show, was at 7,000 tickets sold. They were at 7,000 tickets sold. And then what did Tony Khan do? Tony Khan and a bunch of AEW stars did some appearances for New York City media. And it's because of that, they saw a surge of 4,000 plus tickets sold right then and there. And the final tally for Grand Slam clocked in at just over 11,000 people. That is the power of media promotion. That is the power of face-to-face meetups. That's the power when you have all of this promotion and you just hype the shit out of your event. WWE has the marketing teams, the PR teams, the promotional teams, and they travel to all these different markets, and all they do is just hype the fucking shit out of these shows, even if it's just a measly house show. It's not even just a Raw. It's not even just a SmackDown. It's not just major pay-per-views. They hype the shit up out of house shows. They just constantly plunger the promotion down your throat until you're fucking sick of it. That's what AEW needs to do. You can't continue to do promotion on social media and social media only. You can't. MJF even came out and said that social media is only 7% of professional wrestling's audience. Where's the other 93%? If they're not on social media, what do you think they're doing? They're watching TV, they're reading the newspaper, they're going to these face-to-face meetups. You need to institute and pretty much develop new senses of promotion. You need to put forth as much effort as possible, develop these promotional teams and PR teams, and have them travel to all of these different markets. Have AEW teams, they can go to Oklahoma and hype up a show there. They can go to California, hype up a show there. You already have the media appearances and the promotional appearances for All In. Don't just do that for All In. Do that for all your shows. Because if you do that, you're going to get more people prone to wanting to go to your shows. Social media ain't cutting it anymore. Social media is not going to cut it anymore. You need to put forth as much effort into the promotional side just as much as you put into the creative side of things. Because promotion, the more eyes and the more people see, the more people know about the company, the more people know what's going on in the area, the more people are going to be open to wanting to go out to see a show. You cannot hype up social media as the only means of promotion for your wrestling shows. That's bad fucking business. Another problem, and this is probably the biggest internal problem that AEW has. They put on great shows. They give us great stories. But holy shit, AEW does not have structure at all. AEW does not have a good sense of structure whatsoever. We can go on and on about how Monday Night Raw and SmackDown, they feel very formulaic and they feel very repetitive, which they do. And it's exhausting. How many fucking times do we need to see Charlotte Flair, Bianca Belair, and Io Sky play Ring Around the Rosie for the Women's Championship? How many times do we need to see DIY versus Imperium? How many times do we need to watch Cody Rhodes and Friends versus the Judgment Day? How many partners do we need to see LA Knight team with against the Bloodline? Why? I understand, it sucks, But the one thing that WWE has in that instance, the one thing that they have over AEW is their structure. WWE has a brilliant sense of structure and organization. You know who's on what show, you know what feuds are going on, you know what you're going to get with Raw and SmackDown. The storylines are very, very, very easy to follow. AEW, you can't really say the same thing. You can't really say the same thing about AEW. Now, I'm not saying do a brand split. I'm not saying do a brand split. The WWE should not have a brand split as it is. The WWE brand split is actually hurting the company. Their roster is not big enough for a brand split. It's not. However, what AEW could do, instead of doing a hard brand split, you could do a soft brand split. Maybe, if you want to, you can put certain feuds on certain shows and have the show built around that specific feud. For example, let's say Hangman Adam Page is feuding with Jay White. Why not make that feud exclusive to Collision? Oh man, I can't wait to watch Collision because I want to see what's going to happen. I want to see what's going to happen between Jay White and Adam Page. And you're going to be hyping up Collision and promoting Collision around the Hangman Adam Page Jay White program. Let's say Christian Cage is in a program for the TNT Championship and he's feuding with Mark Briscoe. Why not make that program exclusive to Dynamite? What about Rampage? Rampage 2, you got Kenny Omega and Chris Jericho, the Golden Jets. The Golden Jets are in a program with Ricky Starks and Big Bill. Why not make that feud exclusive to Rampage? So on and so forth. Julia Hart, she's in a program with Willow Nightingale. Put it on Dynamite. Toni Storm, she's in a program for the AEW Women's Championship with Riho. Put it on Collision. So on and so forth. It's simple. Simple, easy to follow, and you know who you're going to be getting on each show. It makes the storylines easy to follow as well. Ring of Honor too. The Ring of Honor and AEW rosters need to be separated. That's an entirely different issue. Ring of Honor needs a complete revamp. Ring of Honor, I can't even believe I'm going to say this, and I really hate to say this, but Ring of Honor feels like AEW Dark 2.0. The only difference is we get better wrestling on Ring of Honor, and we get a little bit better storylines on Ring of Honor. But Ring of Honor, for the most part, it's AEW Dark 2.0. They got 10 matches within 2 fucking hours. Why? Can we please get a better sense of structure? You take a look at some of AEW shows as well, and their shows are overstuffed. Their shows are oversaturated. Why does Rampage have 4 matches on most weeks? It's a 1-hour show. Rampage is a 1-hour show. Why do we need 4 matches on the show? Rampage should be 2 to 3 matches maximum. 2 to 3 matches maximum. No need for 4 matches on a 1-hour show. And then sprinkle in some promos, sprinkle in some segments, and then call it a show. Same thing with Collision. I'm going to admit, Collision has actually been very, very good the last couple weeks, but a couple weeks ago, Collision had 7 fucking matches on the show. Why do we need 7 matches on a 2-hour show? Collision and Dynamite should be 4 to 5 matches maximum. Not 6, not 7, not 8. 4 to 5 matches maximum for Dynamite and Collision. 4 to 5 matches on Collision and Dynamite, 2 to 3 matches on Rampage. Give the matches 10 to 15 minutes and then throw in some segments and promos as well. Throw in some segments and promos and put certain feuds on certain shows. The better structure will give the locker room a sense of relief. The locker room would know what they're doing, who they're going to be working with, and people would be more excited to come to work. It's that lack of structure that is making people uncomfortable, that is making people upset within AEW. Then you got Ring of Honor. Ring of Honor needs to follow the same format as NXT Black and Gold. We need to stop taping Ring of Honor after Collision. We need to stop taping Ring of Honor after Collision and or after Dynamite. Ring of Honor needs to be in Universal Studios. I remember I remember when Ring of Honor TV made its return. I remember in March of this year, Ring of Honor TV made its return heading into Supercard of Honor, right? They made its return heading into Supercard of Honor, and they had 4 tapings, 4 shows taped in Universal Studios. And the energy in Universal Studios was excellent. It felt a little bit like the classic NXT Black and Gold. It had that dark and gritty vibe. That's what we need. That's exactly what we need. We do not need Ring of Honor being taped in a half-empty arena, not even a half-empty arena, in an arena that's barely 25% full after Collision is over. We do not need that. That is a terrible, terrible strategy and a terrible marketing ploy for Tony Khan. No one is watching the AEW shows for Ring of Honor. Separate Ring of Honor. I don't mind seeing a Ring of Honor title match on AEW TV once in a while, but they do it way too often. Like, why do we need Wheeler Yuta on TV if he's the Ring of Honor Pure Champion? If you do not have a solid plan for someone like a Wheeler Yuta on AEW TV, put him on Ring of Honor, have him own his craft there. You have more than enough people to develop a singular roster for Ring of Honor. Willow Nightingale's on there. You got Wheeler Yuta, Eddie Kingston, Claudio Castagnoli. You got the Workhorsemen. Got Dalton Castle, Lee Johnson, Shane Taylor Promotion, Billy Starks, Athena, Trish Adora, Keith Lee if you want to put Keith Lee on Ring of Honor too. You got AR Fox, you got Blake Christian, whoever else. Separate the rosters. Formulate a sense of structure. Put Ring of Honor down in Universal Studios. The show on a weekly basis should be 1 hour to an hour and 15 minutes, 3 to 4 matches maximum, and write compelling stories. The only thing that Ring of Honor has going for it right now is Athena. She's the best women's champion in the industry as we speak. But right now, she's the only thing that Ring of Honor has going for it that's even slightly interesting. Everything else, no one could give a single fuck about. And that's because there is no sense of direction. There's no sense of direction, and there's no sense of an identity for Ring of Honor either. Separate the rosters. Ring of Honor stays on Ring of Honor. AEW stays on AEW. And throughout all of this, there's one common denominator. There's one common denominator with all of these internal problems. I've stated it once, and I'll state it again. Tony Khan is doing way too much by himself. I understand that he's passionate, and I understand that he's prideful. I'm passionate, and I'm prideful with what I do with this DJ Storms brand. And I understand he gets a lot of unnecessary hate. Tony Khan is probably one of the most unnecessarily hated individuals in the history of professional wrestling. He gets way too much shit for no fucking reason whatsoever. So I understand that he takes a sense of pride in what he does. He takes a sense of pride in building something that people would have never thought would have been possible. He built an alternative. He built a great wrestling show. And whether you want to admit it or not, he built a powerhouse too. Powerhouses sell out stadiums. And Tony Khan sold over 80,000 tickets for Wembley. So right then and there, you know that he's a powerhouse. Tony Khan has built something brilliant with AEW. However, no matter how good Tony Khan is, he cannot do it on his own. It doesn't matter how you want to spin it. No one, and I mean nobody can get ahead without help in this world. No one. You cannot get ahead unless you have help. If everyone could do everything on their own, there would be no such thing as jobs. There'd be no such thing as doctors to help with your health. There'd be no such thing as accountants to help with your financial problems. There would be no such thing as real estate agents to help you find homes. There would be no such thing as public transportation to help you get somewhere that's too far for you to walk. There'd be no such thing as planes and trains and buses. There'd be no such thing as a job if everyone had the capability of doing everything on their own. We would have no such thing as marriages. You need a dude and a chick in order to create a family, right? There'd be no such thing as a marriage then. Everyone would be able to do everything on their own. Tony Khan cannot succeed without assistance. You know what he needs to do? He needs to swallow his pride. He needs to swallow his pride, admit that he needs help, and he needs to develop a creative team. Bryan Danielson is not, I'm telling you, he is great, but he's not it. He's not going to be the only guy that Tony Khan needs. He needs a lot more than Bryan Danielson. He needs a lot more than just Bryan Danielson. He needs to develop a promotional team. He needs to develop a creative team. He needs to assign certain individuals to certain shows. One individual can run Ring of Honor. You can have Jerry Lynn and Stokely Hathaway. They could be the official co-CEOs for Ring of Honor. Develop a creative team for Ring of Honor. You need a creative team for Collision, creative team for Rampage. Someone runs Rampage. Someone runs Collision. Tony Khan can run Dynamite, and then they all report back to each other. And a big portion of why Tony Khan is doing too much is because he's taking on more responsibilities. He has more talent. And he has more shows. Back then, when AEW first came around, they had a great sense of structure, and he was making more with less. Because even though they did not have as stacked of a roster as they did back then, ultimately, the storylines were easy to follow, and everything flowed beautifully on AEW TV. Everyone was getting good showcases, and they were utilizing everyone to their fullest potential back then. You can't say the same now. Nowadays, you see the same people on every fucking show. No sense of structure, no sense of organization. Tony Khan needs a creative team. He needs people that he can trust. Put people that he can trust in charge of a Collision. Put one person in charge of Rampage, one person in charge of Ring of Honor, and then they all meet in the middle, report back to Tony Khan with all of their ideas, and Tony Khan can sign off on them. You cannot get ahead without help. You just can't. And if they had more structure, and if they had a creative team, more people would be utilized to their full potential. You'd be able to make the most of your roster, and you would be able to put certain people on certain shows, and everyone would get a piece of the pie. Everyone would get an opportunity. And maybe people would be more prone to stay. Dave Meltzer recently came out and stated that Andrade, he may very well want to leave AEW and go back to Triple H. Because Triple H, he knew how to book Andrade, and he found a place for him. He's not just throwing Andrade out there and having him wrestle. Triple H found a place for Andrade. He had great structure. Andrade, he must like the structure. He probably doesn't like the lack of structure within AEW. Maybe if they had some structure, maybe Wardlow would not be the victim of such shit booking. Maybe if he had a creative team and he had a sense of structure, Wardlow would not have been the victim of such shit booking back in the day. There's really nothing more to say. Tony Khan needs to put his ego aside. He needs to put his ego aside. He needs to admit what's wrong with this company. He either doesn't know what's wrong with this company, he doesn't think anything's wrong with this company, or he just doesn't want to admit that anything is wrong. He needs to swallow his pride, and he needs to admit where he's gone wrong. Because if he doesn't, ultimately, he's going to end up building a very bad, and I mean a very bad reputation with AEW. It's going to be similar to what Vince McMahon did with WWE. Vince McMahon single-handedly destroyed the aura of pro wrestling back in the day. When Vince McMahon instituted this sports entertainment garbage, it automatically exuded a negative energy around pro wrestling. So much so, you talk to a non-wrestling fan and they'll say, "Oh, you still watch that shit? It's fake." Tony Khan is going to end up developing a negative reputation around his company. If he is not careful, he is automatically going to build a negative reputation around his company that's going to exude as, oh, AEW, the company with half-empty arenas and no structure. Is that really the reputation that Tony Khan wants to have? They're not going out of business. They're going to get a TV deal. But at the end of the day, AEW is ultimately going to slip into a vortex that they're never going to be able to get out of. They're going to slip into a vortex that they're never going to be able to get out of. They're not beating WWE in the ratings. They're not beating WWE in the ratings. They're not going to overtake WWE, but they're going to slip into a vortex if they do not acknowledge their flaws. Tony Khan is great at what he does, but again, the common denominator here is that he cannot do everything by himself. He needs to seriously, and I mean seriously, start putting out help wanted signs out on LinkedIn or throw it out on Indeed and start taking job interviews, start hiring people that are going to be strong, stern authority figures, strong, stern creative writers. He needs to establish that sense of structure. He needs to establish that sense of him being a boss, being a CEO. Needs to develop a creative team, develop your promotional teams, and put this shit into action in 2024. Because if he doesn't, then the reputation of AEW will be half-empty arenas and disorganization. That's just the way that it goes. I do not want to hear anyone. I do not want to hear a single fucking beep out of anyone. I do not want to hear anyone ever call me an AEW mark ever again. If anyone dares fucking call me an AEW mark, go watch the last 40 fucking minutes of this stream. Everything that I just said, undoubtedly true. I love AEW and I love what they've been doing. And you know what? I'm going to be very, very excited to watch Collision after I watch NXT Deadline. I'm going to be very, very excited to watch AEW Dynamite. I'm going to be very, very excited to watch Final Battle next week. You know why? Because they've been putting on good shows. But good shows can only take you so far. Good shows can only take you so far without the promotion that you need and the structure and organization that you need. I hope that I was able to educate a bunch of you. And I hope that everyone realizes the issues at hand. I hope you guys have had a good time so far. We're going to go over Raw, Dynamite, SmackDown, and Rampage. Worst show of the week, undoubtedly SmackDown. I'm not sure what the fuck they were doing, but SmackDown, absolutely fucking lazy and lackluster show. Let's talk about Monday Night Raw. Monday Night Raw, I was actually very, very pleased with Monday Night Raw. Monday Night Raw, they delivered a very, very, very solid show. Monday Night Raw kicked off with Drew McIntyre. I am loving this Drew McIntyre heel turn. I'm loving this. So, Drew McIntyre, he kicked off the show. He goes, it seems as though everyone has lost their minds. This world of lies, hypocrites, and plain idiots. I get slapped in the face by Rollins metaphorically, and then I headbutted him literally. Jay, your time is coming as well. So all of a sudden, Sami Zayn then came out, and Drew told Sami Zayn if he's got anything to say it to his face. So Drew said, you deserved to be screwed over by the bloodline, and you joined them, you screwed them over. What did you think was going to happen? Sami said, I was wrong. You and I are nothing alike. I am not delusional. And when I lost in front of my family, I stayed hungry. And I won the main event of WrestleMania. I got my redemption, and I made my family proud. And then Sami goes, Drew, do you think what you're doing is making your family proud? Drew then got pissed, and he said that one of us is not making it out tonight. Get me a referee and ring the damn bell. Very simple, very effective, and I was very, very pleased with what we saw here. Very, very solid stuff right here from Drew McIntyre and Sami Zayn. And the match itself, excellent. The match itself was excellent. So Sami Zayn came in with a Tope Con Hero. Coming back from commercial, Sami with a moonsault off the apron to Drew. Sami Zayn then delivered a suplex, and he kept the pressure on Drew. Nice satellite DDT for a 2. Drew then with a neck breaker. He then caught Sami Zayn in a pescado and slung him over the announce table. Sami Zayn then was caught with a spine buster for a 2. We had a sit-out powerbomb again. Drew McIntyre into the cover. Sami Zayn kicked out. Sunset flip powerbomb from the middle rope. Drew McIntyre kicked out. Drew with a Glasgow kiss. Sami Zayn dodged the Claymore and delivered a Blue Thunder bomb. That got a 2 count. Sami then tweaked his leg. Drew saw it. His eyes lit up. And Drew with a chop block. No compassion shown whatsoever. Sami Zayn made it to his feet. And Drew McIntyre with a nasty Claymore. Drew McIntyre with the 1, 2, 3. Drew McIntyre gets the win. And it seems to be all but confirmed that Drew McIntyre will be Seth Rollins' opponent at the Royal Rumble. Afterwards, Sami Zayn was in the back being checked by the medical staff. Drew then attacked Sami Zayn. He screamed that he's nothing like him, and then he brought this on himself. He then stomped on Sami Zayn's injured ankle and walked away. Love it. Love it. Drew McIntyre, easily one of the most intriguing acts on WWE TV, although I do not believe that Drew McIntyre is going to be staying with WWE past WrestleMania. Shayna Baszler. She took on Nia Jax. Nia Jax recently hasn't been too bad on WWE TV in recent weeks. She actually put on a decent match with Zoe Stark and a decent match with Raquel. Can't really say the same about Shayna Baszler. This match was boring as shit. And yet I am still here trying to figure out how anyone believes that bringing back Nia Jax was a good idea. Matter of fact, this shit was merely a marketing ploy to try and coerce The Rock to coming back. And guess what? The Rock came back, and now he's not involved in the main event of WrestleMania. He just doesn't want to do it. The Rock just doesn't want to do it. I think it's time that we put this Rock versus Roman Reigns idea out of our minds. It was out of my mind years ago. This match was boring as shit. And Shayna Baszler, my God, Shayna Baszler, it is very, very, very tough for me to watch Shayna Baszler on WWE TV and just see how poorly they have treated her. It's absolutely pathetic. Honest to God, it is absolutely pathetic. Sad. Honest to God, sad. So, after all of this bullshit, Nia Jax ended up winning with the Annihilator, a.k.a. the Banzai Drop. Boring as shit. These two are just not good opponents. They do not gel well together. Afterwards, Becky came out, and Nia Jax ended up walking away. Who gives a shit? Who gives a shit? At this point, they're just biding Becky's time. Becky Lynch is just biding her time until she probably wins the Elimination Chamber, and she'll fight Rhea Ripley at WrestleMania. They replayed the CM Punk return package from Survivor Series. They're just milking it and milking it. I'm not going to lie to you right here. It's honestly annoying at this point. We get it. He's fucking back. You don't need to replay the fucking video over and over and over again. We get it. He's back. He's back. Cool. What is he going to do going forward? We got something on SmackDown, which I'm very, very thankful about. But why don't we just keep the ball rolling on what we got on SmackDown rather than replaying the fucking video package over and over again? No substance whatsoever. Please, I beg of you. I understand that you're fucking lazy in December, WWE, but I would like some actual substance. So after that boring fucking Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler match, we then go into something that I was very, very pleased with, and that was DIY versus Imperium 2 out of 3 falls match. This was a very, very, very good match, and finally, a step in the right direction for DIY. After about 5 to 6 weeks going back and forth with Imperium, finally, we get ourselves a pay-per-view worthy match. This was a 2 out of 3 falls match, and for those of you that know DIY, you know their history in 2 out of 3 falls matches. So, we got Imperium in early control. Gargano with a slingshot spear to Kaiser. They tagged in Tommaso Ciampa. Vinci then pulled Gargano out, and Kaiser rolled up Ciampa with a handful of tights to get the first fall. So Imperium now was at the advantage. Coming back from commercial, Gargano was isolated before Ciampa was able to pull Vinci out of the ring, and Gargano rolled up Kaiser to even the score 1-1. So the score was even now. This is where the match started to pick up. We had a double team by DIY, back suplex, powerbomb combination. Vinci with a tilt-a-whirl backbreaker. Tilt-a-whirl backbreaker, that got a 2. Kaiser with a rolling DVD. PK, tag to Vinci. Springboard moonsault, beautifully done. Ciampa saved it. At this point, both teams started going back and forth, clotheslines and kicks and DDTs. All 4 men were down. Crowd was chanting, "This is awesome." All of a sudden, Ciampa with an avalanche air raid crash. Ciampa was then pulled out by Vinci again. Ciampa then sent Vinci into the post, tagged to Ciampa again by Gargano, meeting in the middle, and DIY get the win. 1, 2, 3, and they win the 2 out of 3 falls match against Imperium. This was very good. Very, very good. Very, very pleased with what we got here, and I really do hope that this means bigger and better things for DIY. Really. DIY absolutely should be the team to beat the Judgment Day at WrestleMania. That is your tag team title match. DIY and Judgment Day. Speaking of tag teams, we actually had a tag team match with Tegan Nox and Natalya taking on Katana Chance and Kaden Carter. And I don't want to say that this was bad, but I mean, no one cares about the women's division. No one cares about the women's division, which is actually quite sad because Katana Chance and Kaden Carter, they are very good at what they do. They're very good at what they do. You know me, I'm a big Katana Chance guy. Katana Chance is great. I really, really do hope that Katana Chance and Kaden Carter, they are the team to beat Chelsea Green and Piper Niven, because whatever's going on between Chelsea Green and Piper Niven, this whole shit, it's just not hitting. It's not working. Just not. I would much rather have them actually wrestle than act like fucking Karens. Fucking annoying. Katana Chance and Kaden Carter get the win with an assisted splash. And I'm very, very happy to see that Katana Chance and Kaden Carter got the win. I hope that this means better for them in the future. Cody Rhodes, adrenaline in my soul. Whoa, wearing a suit now, Cody Rhodes. Gonna appear on SmackDown and say nothing of substance. Oh! Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes came out and he wanted to talk about the poison mist that he received from Shinsuke Nakamura. He said that he should have gotten the clues about Shinsuke Nakamura. He should have gotten the clues about Shinsuke Nakamura, dropping them week after week. But I'm assuring you that I am ready. He then challenged Shinsuke Nakamura to a fight. The lights then went out. Shinsuke Nakamura came up on the screen. And in Japanese, he talked about making Cody Rhodes' eyes burn. He said that he's going to show him what he's not seeing. And this is the part I actually liked. This is the part that I was actually not really aware of. This was something I wasn't really aware of, but I will say that they actually did a good job explaining this part of the story. So Shinsuke Nakamura they highlighted the parallels between Shinsuke Nakamura and Cody Rhodes. How Nakamura and Cody Rhodes both won the Royal Rumble and they could see the mountaintop, but yet they slipped. Nakamura, he lost to AJ Styles at WrestleMania. Cody Rhodes lost to Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. I appreciate the fact that they were highlighting the parallels between the two. That was actually a really, really, really nice highlight to the package. He goes that Cody Rhodes has inspired him to unburden Cody. Nakamura, he says he wants to unburden Cody and take the story off of his hands. I will finish my own story. That I actually liked. That I will give them credit for, and I'm glad that they gave us a legitimate explanation. Cody then said, Nakamura, I don't respect you. You say that we're the same? Prove it. I don't hate this. I don't hate this at all. And you know what? I'm actually really, really looking forward to Cody Rhodes versus Shinsuke Nakamura next week. I'm really looking forward to it. See how it plays out. Judgment Day. This was J.D. McDonough and Dominic Mysterio. They took on the Creed brothers. Judgment Day, they were in firm control. McDonough with a springboard moonsault to the floor onto the Creeds. Coming back from commercial, Brutus was able to deadlift Dominic Mysterio. Tag to Julius. We had a belly-to-belly suplex barrage, one after the other, to Julius and Dom. We then had a 619 by Dominic Mysterio. JD then came in. He tagged himself in. Brutus, this was great. Brutus pounced Dominic over the announce table. And then in the ring, we got the Brutus Ball electric chair. And that was it. That was it. We got the Creed brothers taking the win. And I didn't mind it at all. I didn't mind it at all. And I'm actually really looking forward to seeing what the Creed brothers do against Finn Balor and Damian Priest. If they give them time, that's going to be one hell of a fucking match. Shout out to Raging Girl Gamer who just stopped on by. Rage, we got to get you back on the fucking channel. We really got to get you back on the fucking channel next year. Hula Grim has been appearing on my channel every fucking month for God knows how long now. We need to get you back on. Next week on Raw, Cody Rhodes and Nakamura, one-on-one, and CM Punk will be live next week. And then our main event on Monday Night Raw. Rage, you did great last year when we talked about Survivor Series. You're not terrible on a podcast. We're just talking pro wrestling. Come on. Hoolagrim, if you could help me out here, if you're still watching Hoolagrim, please, can you fucking convince Rage to come on? You want to do a triple threat podcast? Or what? Come on. Main event of Monday Night Raw. I'm getting sidetracked here. Main event of Monday Night Raw. Jey Uso and Seth Rollins for the World Heavyweight Championship. You know, all right, who'll agree? Get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out. I fucking talked the entire time. I give you the floor more times than not. And on top of that, what would you rather do? Would you rather watch some fucking schmuck like Jay Leto shill WWE? Or would you rather watch me act like the greatest fucking thing since sliced bread, which I am? I'm sorry I asked, Hula Grim. You better watch yourself when you come on my show next week. You better watch yourself, all right? You're going to get a DJ Storms that you don't want to see. Seth Rollins, Jey Uso, World Heavyweight Championship. Let me get the fuck back on track. Seth Rollins, Jey Uso, World Heavyweight Championship. I understand that Seth Rollins is a secondary champion. I understand that many people don't really look at Seth Rollins and they think, oh yeah, he's the face of a company and shit like that. I understand that the World Heavyweight title was simply made because, hey, these guys can't beat Roman, so we'll give them a secondary championship to fight over. I get it. However, I really don't understand how people could look at Seth Rollins and his World Heavyweight title reign and tell me that it hasn't been good. This is easily the best world title reign of Seth Rollins' career. What Seth Rollins has been doing with the World Heavyweight Championship is exactly what we need out of a world champion. Really. Seth Rollins, outside of that one match with Finn Balor at Money in the Bank, every single title defense that Seth Rollins has done has been excellent. Damian Priest, Finn Balor, Braun Breaker, Nakamura, Drew McIntyre, Sami Zayn, and now Jey Uso. Matter of fact, I would probably say that this match with Jey Uso was probably one of the top 3 matches of Seth Rollins' World Heavyweight title reign thus far. Drew McIntyre, I'm putting at number 1. Number 2, I'd probably have to say the match with Braun Breaker. I understand it was on NXT, but listen, if you got some time, spend 20 minutes and go watch that match with Braun Breaker and Seth Rollins. It was a great fucking match. Really. It really showcased that Braun Breaker, he's a main eventer. He really is. And then number 3, I'll probably put this one with Jey Uso. This was pay-per-view worthy. So this was pretty even early on. Rollins came in with a springboard swanton bomb, followed up by a lion salt for a 2. We had a nice neck breaker by Jey for a 2 count. Rollins was then caught on the apron, and Jey Uso delivered a DDT on the floor to Seth Rollins. We had a suicide dive by Rollins coming back from commercial. Big clothesline. Super kick to the gut by Jey. Hip attack by Jey. That got Rollins a 2 count. Rollins then with a sling blade. He then went up to the top. Frog splash. Jey Uso kicked out. Jey Uso was able to kick out. We then had a big right hand by Rollins. Super kick by Jey. Uso splash connects. Rollins kicked out again. Rollins then with a superplex Falcon Arrow combination. Again, Jey Uso kicked out. All of a sudden, we had Jey Uso out of nowhere hit a spear by Jey Uso. And then Jey Uso went up to the top. And it looked like we were going to get the Uso splash again. 1, 2. Rollins kicked out. Excellent fucking near fall. So I actually thought Jey was going to win the title right then and there. That was really, really good stuff. So Rollins then with a buckle bomb. Jey Uso went for a spear. Rollins caught him in a pedigree in midair. Rollins then connected with the stomp. 1, 2, 3. Seth Rollins retains. Excellent main event. Went 20 plus minutes, and it was everything that it needed to be. Excellent stuff by Rollins and Jey Uso. Afterwards, Jey Uso was leaving the ring before Drew McIntyre came flying in out of nowhere with a Claymore kick. Rollins was then taken out as well, and then Jey Uso was put through the announce table with a suplex as Drew McIntyre yelled in Jey Uso's face, "And the truth shall set you free." That was awesome. That was an awesome ending. Very much looking forward to seeing what happens in the future. Really, really, really solid stuff. Monday Night Raw was very good. And I'm asking myself, why didn't we get this show last week when more eyes were on the product? Because last week, you would have been able to gain more lapsed viewers. Now, you went right back to a 1.5 million. Nevertheless, Raw was very good. And I was very pleased with what we got on Raw. Monday Night Raw, I'm telling you, Monday Night Raw feels more like a complete show. Monday Night Raw feels more complete than SmackDown. And part of that is because Roman Reigns is a fucking part-time champion. Nevertheless, let's move on to Dynamite. Dynamite this week. We got some really, really good wrestling on Dynamite. and we continue to build towards World's End. World's End is looking damn good. World's End is looking damn good. The Continental Classic has really given Dynamite and Collision a sense of life, and I'm very, very pleased with what I'm seeing. Jon Moxley and Roosh, they kicked off the Continental Classic Gold League match. This was very good. However, I'm going to throw it out there. I think that we had the wrong outcome here. I think that this match had the wrong outcome. So the fight spilled into the crowd pretty quickly. They were wasting no time. Roosh, then he got a big boot to the face. Crowd was chanting, "Fuck him up, Moxley, fuck him up." Roosh then with a power slam. Moxley with a superplex. Both men were on the apron. They go to the floor. Roosh then with a belly-to-belly to Moxley into the barricade. Coming back from commercial, Moxley with a DDT. Stalling pile driver by Roosh for 2. Suplex by Roosh. Tope suicida by Moxley. Both men beat the count into the ring. Both men traded blows back and forth. Roosh then with a discus elbow. Moxley then with some stiff forearms. Moxley was able to catch Roosh with a Death Rider. Moxley only got a 2. Moxley then with a choke. Moxley with the choke, but Roosh ended up passing out. And Roosh was not too happy with it. But I would actually have given the victory to Roosh. I understand that Moxley is the man to beat in this tournament, but I don't think I really would have minded if Moxley would have lost here. We already know that Moxley's a big-time favorite to win the whole tournament, but we didn't need Moxley getting the win. Whatsoever. This should have been a victory for Roosh. And Roosh being in this tournament and Roosh getting the victory here would have actually made the match a little bit more unpredictable. I would have much rather have taken Roosh getting the victory rather than Moxley. I understand Moxley's coming off a loss of Orange Cassidy, but Moxley is in the same league right now as Roman Reigns. Moxley could take all the losses that he wants in a row, and he'll be fine in the end. That's just me. I would have given it to Roosh. Still a very good match nonetheless. Renee Paquette interviewed Roderick Strong and the Kingdom. And this, I don't know why, I found this a hell of a lot more funny than it really was. Roderick Strong was wheeled out there in a wheelchair by the Kingdom, and before he even said anything, all you hear is the crowd shouting, "Adam! Adam!" That's all you hear. All you hear is the crowd shouting, "Adam!" I don't even believe that Roderick Strong was able to get that shit over. I don't believe that Roderick Strong was able to get that shit over. It's unbelievable. So Strong said, "Renee, actions have consequences. Samoa Joe will put his hands on a hot stove and he will get burned." Strong then said that he is in this wheelchair because of decisions that he's made, but I will not live with the consequences of my decisions any longer. He then stood up out of the wheelchair. He said that he will no longer be held back by this wheelchair. He's been held back for far too long. I'm guessing that part of that means that he is a part of the Devil's Minions. Him, Matt Taven, and Mike Bennett are part of the Devil's Minions. It's going to be Matt Taven, Mike Bennett, Roderick Strong, Wardlow, and Adam Cole. And that is how I see this playing out. But Roderick Strong, I don't know, but Roderick Strong kind of seems like a guilty pleasure to me. I don't know why, but I laugh my ass off every single time. When Roderick Strong comes out yelling at him. Speaking of the Devil, MJF actually had a little promo. He actually interrupted a Hangman Page promo. Hangman was interviewed by Renee. Page said Swerve beat him and he can concede. But Swerve, I took something from you. We are bound by something bigger, and this is not over. I know what you want, and I will make sure that you never have it. And I'm guessing that means the AEW World Championship. Speaking of the AEW World Championship, MJF then came into the frame. He called Hangman a dumbass who puts the crowd to sleep. And then, all of a sudden, they started running down all of these moments where they one-up each other. So, MJF goes, who did I beat to win the Dynamite Diamond Ring for the first time? Oh, yeah, I beat an anxious millennial cowboy. And then Hangman goes, oh, yeah, I was actually pretty distraught. I had to console myself by winning the world championship instead. And then MJF goes, you know what? That was a great world title reign you had. What was it, 6 months? I've held this title for well over a year. So MJF then accused Paige of being the devil. Now, I don't know about you, but I would have actually have popped if Paige was the devil. I think that would be a great change of character for him. That's just me. Paige then called MJF a manipulator, and MJF says that he'll beat the crap out of him right now. All of a sudden, Samoa Joe came into the frame, and he broke it up, and he goes, we have bigger business to attend to, and it does not concern him. I am not sure what this was all about. I really don't know what this was all about, but I thought it was great. I like where this is going. Could we potentially be looking at Hangman Adam Page as one of the challengers for MJF? I would not mind that. I would not mind MJF having Page as a challenger. That right there is a feud that I don't think we've seen properly. We have not seen a proper MJF Hangman Adam Page feud in quite a long time. The last time that we actually had a legitimate, and I mean a legitimate, program between the two is when they fought over the Dynamite Diamond Ring. Ever since then, we haven't really had a program between Page and MJF in which we can actually sink our teeth into. Maybe the injury with MJF isn't that bad. Maybe the injury with MJF is not that bad. I wouldn't mind it. I wouldn't mind whatsoever if we do see a World Championship match after World's End. Maybe Samoa Joe does not win the world title at World's End. Maybe Adam Cole ends up revealing himself. Hangman ends up earning a shot at the championship, and maybe Adam Cole screws over MJF. Maybe Hangman is a part of the whole Devil's Minions group anyway. There's a lot of different routes that they can go, but I would definitely love to see a Hangman Page versus MJF feud. I think they could put on a great program. Swerve Strickland. And I swerve when I drive. And I swerve when I drive. Swerve Strickland. He took on Mark Briscoe. Continental Classic Gold League match. We can sit here and claim that Mark Briscoe was only put in this tournament to take pins. But at the end of the day, this was absolutely a coming out party for Mark Briscoe. This was a coming out party for Mark Briscoe in every sense of the word. Mark Briscoe showcased to everyone that he can wrestle as a singles guy, and he can be taken seriously as one. Mark Briscoe has probably had 3 of the best matches of the tournament thus far. Jon Moxley, Roosh, and Swerve Strickland. And Mark Briscoe, let me tell you something. Mark Briscoe, if they want to, they could really tell a story of Mark Briscoe winning a world championship for Jay. And if they tell that story, I think that would be a real big money program to get Mark Briscoe over as a top-tier babyface. I realize that right now Mark Briscoe is not a priority, but this momentum that he's gaining from the Continental Classic, putting on these banger matches, that right there should be used going forward into 2024 as something that is going to take Mark Briscoe to the next level. Mark Briscoe's stock is rising even in defeat. This was an excellent match. So Mark Briscoe with a wrecking ball drop kick. Both men went out on the apron. Swerve Strickland then went strike for strike with Mark Briscoe. We had a superplex off the apron to the floor, which looked brutal. Coming back from commercial, both men were pretty much jockeying for position. Briscoe with some redneck kung fu, a big boot in the corner, and a fisherman brainbuster. That got a 2. We had a deadlift suplex by Swerve, rolling flatliner, and a roundhouse kick. Briscoe kicked out. Briscoe then knocked Swerve off the top rope and delivered a tope con hero to the floor. Then back in the ring, Swerve was able to kick out of a big lariat. We had the house call, 450 splash, but Mark Briscoe got the knees up. Roll up, Swerve just kicked out. Rolling Death Valley driver. Briscoe went for the froggy bow, but Swerve got the knees up. Roll up by Briscoe, and Briscoe was able to kick out. So the crowd was loving it. They were chanting, "This is awesome, this is awesome." 5 minutes were left in the match. Swerve then finally took advantage. Death Valley driver on the apron. And the Swerve stomp, and Swerve Strickland gets 9 points. And next week, we got ourselves one hell of a match with Jon Moxley and Swerve Strickland. And my God, we are going to get one hell of a fight. And I do believe that Swerve Strickland's going to take it. He has to take it. Swerve needs to take it. There's no reason why Jon Moxley needs to win it. No reason. Samoa Joe came out for his match against the Devil's Minions. All of a sudden, the lights went out. The Devil's Minions surrounded the ring. The lights come back on again, and the Devil was shown on the screen with MJF knocked out cold in the parking lot with a bottle shattered all around him. Samoa Joe then ran back to try and help, and that was it. So the match never took place, and I'm actually glad that the match never took place. That was a very nice way to enhance the story, and you did not have to have either the Devil's Minions or MJF or Samoa Joe take the loss. That I appreciate. Timeless Toni Storm. She took on Sky Blue. This is for the AEW Women's World Championship. Luther at ringside. I'm actually liking this Luther partnership with Toni Storm. I don't know what it is. It started out as a gimmick where I didn't get, and now I'm saying it's probably the best thing in the women's division. So Toni Storm goes, "Who wants to see a titty slap?" So she slapped Sky Blue right above her tits. Toni Storm was in control coming out from commercial. Sky Blue, then with a high knee, sliding enziguri, a thrust kick, and then a hip attack of her own. And you know what? She's allowed to use that because, needless to say, she's got a nice cake. She's got a nice cake, that's for sure. So, Sky Blue with a running boot. Code Blue, Toni Storm kicked out. We had a hip attack by Toni Storm. Sky Blue ended up getting rolled up, and Storm pinned Sky Blue to win in a very good match for what it was. I didn't have an issue with it. All of a sudden, Riho came out, and she made her return. She drop-kicked Toni Storm out of the ring, and Riho stands tall. And if you guys remember, Riho was actually taken out by Toni Storm when she was a member of the Outcasts. So now that Riho is back in action, her challenging Toni Storm kind of makes sense. And that right there, that should be a decent little undercard match for World's End. I don't have an issue with that. At all. Next week, like I said, we got Swerve Strickland and Jon Moxley. Should be a good match. We got Jay Lethal and Jay White. Gold League Continental Classic match. And the crowd was actually making this match better than it was. The crowd was chanting, "Let's go, Jay. Let's go, Jay." And we didn't know who the fuck they were chanting for. So, Jay White with a DDT on Lethal. Coming back from commercial, Jay Lethal with a diving elbow drop for a 2. Jay then with a necklock suplex into the buckle. We had a sheer drop brainbuster by White for a 2. Both men went to chop each other, one after the other. Jay Lethal then had his leg chopped out from underneath him as he went for the lethal injection. The Blade Runner was then locked in by Jay White, but Jay Lethal reversed it. Jay White then rolled up Jay Lethal and got the win. Solid match for what it was, but it was probably the weakest match of the tournament thus far. We got a better tournament match on Rampage with Bryan Danielson and Daniel Garcia, which, by the way, if you haven't seen, I would highly encourage you check it out. But regardless, solid match. Jay White gets the victory. And then in our main event, Adam Copeland and Christian Cage, TNT Championship in Montreal. And the crowd was singing Metalingus. I love it. Crowd singing Metalingus. It's a great thing. Great thing. Then Copeland, he came out. Crowd was chanting holy shit before the match even began, which I was very, very pleased with. You gotta love it. So Copeland tried to choke out Christian Cage immediately. Christian Cage tried to choke out, or Christian Cage was choked out immediately, but he got to the ropes quicker than we expected. Then all of a sudden, we saw Christian Cage tried to take advantage, but it didn't happen. Christian Cage was bounced all over the barricade, one after the other. We then had Copeland on the defense, coming back from commercial. Copeland with a flying clothesline off of the middle turnbuckle, and Christian Cage, he bounced off of the apron. So Copeland took over control. Copeland was then sent into the ring steps by Cage. Back in the ring, Christian Cage with a frog splash. Frog splash connects. 1-2. Copeland kicked out. Copeland then countered the spear into the Impaler DDT. Both men were then up to the top. Christian Cage was caught with a running Liger bomb by Copeland for a 2. Roll up again. Edge-o-matic for a 2 by Copeland. Copeland then with the crossface. Crowd was chanting, "This is awesome." Copeland went for the spear, but Christian Cage leapfrogged, delivered the kill switch. Perfectly done. Copeland just kicked out. Copeland accidentally clipped the referee, and Christian Cage, like the sleazy fuck that he is, delivered a low blow to the ref. He then took the championship. Christian Cage went for a championship shot right to the head, and Copeland moved. Both men went for spears, and they collided. I thought was actually very, very nicely done right there. Both men were down. All of a sudden, Nick Wayne's mother, Shayna Wayne, came out. She took the title, and out of nowhere, she bashed Adam Copeland with the championship. I'm assuming for what Adam Copeland did to her son right in front of her. I mean, there's really no other explanation. Shayna Wayne, obviously blinded by rage. It would be cool, though, if Shayna Wayne does end up joining with Christian Cage and he adds to the patriarchy. That would be great. That would be very, very funny. So Shayna Wayne bashes Adam Copeland with the championship. The crowd booing heavily. She walked away. Christian then with the kill switch. And then he put Copeland's head on the belt and stomped right on his neck, living up to his promise, saying that he was going to break his neck. And then Copeland was out. Christian pinned Copeland 1, 2, 3, and Christian Cage gets the win. This is exactly what needed to happen. Now, personally, I would have preferred if Jack Perry made his return and Jack Perry sided with Christian Cage. I would have preferred if Jack Perry sided with Christian Cage and Jack Perry would have joined the patriarchy. He could have reformed with Luchasaurus, and we would have gotten a legit super faction with Christian Cage. That would have been great. But instead, we got Shayna Wayne. I'm not going to shit on it. Because she actually has a reason to do what she did to Copeland. And in the end, this makes the TNT title feel more important. It makes Christian Cage feel more important. And we're going to get another match at World's End. And it's going to be a great match. We're going to get another match at World's End, and it is going to be a great match. I can't really complain about it all that much. I'm looking forward to what they do. At World's End. And if you're asking me, I would have Christian Cage win again. I would actually have Christian Cage win again. That was Dynamite. Very good show. SmackDown, they had their Tribute to the Troop show. And if I was a troop, I would have actually been very disappointed with what WWE put together on SmackDown. Very lackluster, very tame, very unexciting. I don't know what the fuck the problem was here, but it really didn't hit like it should have, especially with the United States Championship tournament that's going on. Very, very, very lackluster show. Dragon Lee and Santos Escobar, this was a first-round matchup in the United States title #1 contenders tournament. That kicked off the show. Dominic Mysterio was actually at ringside. Dragon Lee came in with a Tope Con Hero and a super kick for 2. Escobar then took over quickly. Coming back from commercial, Dragon Lee mounted a comeback. We had a super kick while Escobar was upside down. And then we had a sit-out powerbomb by Dragon Lee for a 2. Escobar was then sent to the floor. Escobar and Dragon Lee went back into the ring. And then out of nowhere, Escobar hit the Phantom Driver legitimately right before it kicked into the second gear. And the match was just over. Please answer me this question. Why is it that you're holding these guys back? Why is it that we got 2 matches between these two, and it didn't even come up to 1/20th of what these guys could really do? This is one thing that I hate about WWE. I'm not saying that every match needs to be a WrestleMania main event, but if you got Dragon Lee and Santos Escobar, there is no reason why we should not be getting at least a 4-star match out of these two. Don't you think that WWE could benefit from having matches like a Mark Briscoe and a Swerve Strickland on a weekly basis? Don't you think that WWE would benefit by having Seth Rollins and Jey Uso matches like that, 25-minute bangers? Don't you think that these shows would benefit from those types of matches on a weekly basis? Why is it that we're getting that shit on Raw, but we're not getting this shit on SmackDown? Why is it on SmackDown it's always so repetitive and no one is allowed to break through to that next gear? If that was the case, then they shouldn't have even been in this tournament to begin with. Very disappointing. Very, very disappointing. Cody Rhodes, again, we had to... So, let me ask you this. Cody Rhodes came out there and said absolutely nothing of substance. He was used as a fucking ratings ploy to come out there, adrenaline in my soul. Oh! Cody Rhodes can come out there and we can get a second on SmackDown, but you're telling me you can't give Dragon Lee and Santos Escobar another 6-7 more minutes? Fucking ridiculous. What did Cody Rhodes do? He did nothing. He introduced the Fort Myer, Virginia drill team, and that was that. Bobby Lashley and Karrion Kross, another one. 6 minutes. Kross barely even got any offense in. Bobby Lashley wins with a spear. Let me tell you something. It is absolutely demoralizing to see what they've done to Karrion Kross. He's legitimately WWE's version of Wardlow. What the fuck are they doing with Karrion Kross? At this rate, you may as well just let him go. He'll find success elsewhere. I don't understand how, even after Vince McMahon is gone, you cannot find anything for Karrion Kross. He was better off leaving WWE after his NXT run was over. What a joke. Absolutely pathetic at how they've mistreated Karrion Kross. Shouldn't have even been in the tournament. CM Punk. Literally, the only good thing on the show. CM Punk. CM Punk came out to address the crowd. Punk said that he wasn't going to get his time cut. Punk said that he wasn't going to get his time cut. So go ahead and chant away. He shouldn't have gotten his time cut to begin with. He should have gotten at least 30 minutes on Monday Night Raw. So Punk questioned where he was signed. I'm going to leave it up to you partially. Do you want me to be a Raw superstar or do you want me to be SmackDown exclusive? Do you want me to throw 29 other superstars over the top rope and go to the main event of WrestleMania? You know, I hear that there are a few people who are upset. I listen and I hear. Allow me to be that spicy CM Punk that you all know and love. Who do you want me to talk about? Do you want me to talk about Cody Rhodes? Or do you want me to talk about someone who's not even here? Someone who is never here? Roman Reigns, Tribal Chief, congratulations on all your success, but don't forget who the OG Paul Heyman guy is. Roman's cousins are here, though. Do I scrap up with Jimmy Uso? I'm going to need some backup. Can I trust the guy with voices in his head? Or do I tag with L.A. Knight, says CM Punk. He then goes, someone said Kevin Owens. Do I fight Kevin Owens? You know, we are very much alike, and I don't know how I feel working with someone who walks around backstage punching people in the face. It's 2023, people. You can't be doing that stuff. I mean, that's insane. Little shot there at the Elite. Although, again, Phil, you were kind of the instigator to it all, but I digress. That got no pop, by the way. Really goes to show you that WWE fans are all fucking retarded. So, from there, he goes, everyone has welcomed me back except for one guy. And you know what? I'm not going to put any stock into what he says because he's not even the man in his own household. The crowd then sang Rollins' theme song. Punk goes, I'm gonna be here. I'm gonna meet with Nick Aldis. I'm gonna listen to that phone call with Shawn Michaels, and I'll hear what Pierce has to say. I am going to be the monkey wrench in all future plans and goals, and I am back to finish what I started, and that means main eventing WrestleMania. Much, 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 much better than what we got on Raw last week. And this is the type of CM Punk that we need. CM Punk is going to be causing chaos. He's going to be causing some trouble. And exactly what he said, he's going to be the monkey wrench into future plans and goals. I'm liking it. I'm very much liking it. Asuka and Charlotte Flair. This was probably one of the worst Asuka matches I have ever seen. And it looks like Charlotte Flair may be injured. I'm not really sure how severe it is, but she was helped to the back, and her knee was clearly hurting. Either way, the whole entire thing with Charlotte Flair and Asuka, absolutely terrible. It's like they are completely unaware that there are more women on the roster than just Asuka and Charlotte Flair. So that was a terrible match. And then we got Solo Sikoa and Jimmy Uso versus Randy Orton and LA Knight. Not a bad match. I'm not going to sit here and say it was terrible. It wasn't a bad match. But I mean, how many fucking times do we need to see LA Knight and a partner versus Solo Sikoa and Jimmy Uso? How many fucking times have we seen this? We've seen it with John Cena. We've seen one-on-one matches with Jimmy Uso and LA Knight. It's the same shit over and over and over again. It's lame. It's tiresome. Please, for the love of God, give me something different. That was SmackDown. Boring show. Very boring show outside of CM Punk. Rampage. We're going to talk about Rampage, and then we're going to get on out of here. Rampage. Last week's Rampage was very, very lackluster. This week's Rampage, much, much better. This week's Rampage was much better, and it was headlined by a match between Daniel Garcia and Bryan Danielson. They went nearly 18 minutes. It was a Blue League Continental Classic Tournament match. But first things first, the show started off with Orange Cassidy versus Angelico for the AEW International Championship. This was a pretty technical match early on. Angelico then with a torture rack on Cassidy. Cassidy reversed it into a head scissor. The crowd was actually hot. We had a Hurricane Rana by Cassidy with his hands in his pockets. Cassidy may have tweaked his leg early on. That actually became a story a little bit later on in the match. Angelico tried to slow the pace down, a little modified Muda lock and an armbar. Coming back from commercial, Cassidy with a Stun Dog Millionaire and a one-legged beach break, but he couldn't make the cover. He then tried to fight through the pain. Angelico then with a PK. Danhausen then tripped up Angelico. Serpentico charged after him, but he missed. Cassidy was then sent into Danhausen, and then Angelico took advantage with a grapevine ankle lock. Cassidy was in the grapevine ankle lock pretty tightly. It looked nasty, I will say that. So Cassidy was in trouble. The ankle lock was in deep. Cassidy was then able to roll to the ropes. Serpentico took out Danhausen. Danhausen then with a low blow on Serpentico. Cassidy then rolled up Angelico. That got a 2. And then out of the roll-up, Cassidy with the orange punch. Cassidy pins Angelico 1, 2, 3. And Orange Cassidy gets the victory. Minus the shenanigans on the outside, this was actually a very well-paced match. And I was actually very, very pleased with the story that they told. I was very pleased with the story they told with Orange Cassidy and the hurt leg and him trying to avoid the grapevine ankle lock and the endurance that Cassidy has. I was very much appreciative of what they did there with Cassidy. And I'm very much looking forward to seeing what Cassidy does in the future. And Angelico is very underrated. Angelico is very underrated. I would not mind seeing a little bit more of Angelico. I don't really understand this fucking partnership with Serpentico. Matter of fact, I would bring back Jack Evans. I would bring back Jack Evans, and I would bring back the Hybrid too. That's what I would do. Abaddon and Trish Adora. Very, very short match right here. Abaddon wins with the Black Dahlia. The lights go out. Julia Hart was in the ring. And Julia Hart then dropped the TBS Championship in front of Abaddon before the lights went out. Lights came back on. Julia was gone. And Abaddon, you just heard her screaming and yelling, "Where are you?" Abaddon might be getting slightly better in the ring, but holy shit, her character fucking sucks. Abaddon's character is absolute garbage. I honest to God, do not understand why Abaddon is still employed. She's not of any substance to AEW TV at all. The character fucking sucks. All she does is fucking scream. All she does is fucking scream. Give me something else. Take Abaddon off of TV. The more that we see Abaddon on fucking TV, the less and less I will care about the women's division. Get her the fuck off of TV. The spooky characters do not work anymore. Powerhouse Hobbs and Konosuke Takeshita, they took on Matt Sydal and Christopher Daniels. This was a pretty standard match, and it resulted in a win for the Don Callis family. Will Hobbs with a spinebuster and a World's Strongest Slam, and it looks like the Don Callis family could be looking for the tag team championships. I would actually not mind if the Don Callis family won the AEW World Tag Team titles at some point next year. If they want to, I would not have the Golden Jets beat Ricky Starks and Big Bill. I wouldn't. I would actually have the Don Callis family do it. Keep the title on Ricky Starks and Big Bill. Keep the championships on Ricky Starks and Big Bill. Have them take it into 2024. Build them up as credible challengers. Build them up as credible champions, and then you could probably do the title change maybe at Revolution. You do it at Revolution. It's not the end of the world. Main event, easily the best thing on the show. And if you guys have the opportunity, I would highly encourage you go out of your way to watch this show. This was an excellent match. Great match right here. Bryan Danielson and Daniel Garcia, Blue League Continental Classic Tournament match. And Garcia was back in tights. No more leather pants. He had the towel and he had the tights. And it looks like Garcia is going back to being a wrestler. I like it. He looked great. And this match with Bryan Danielson looked great as well. So Garcia and Bryan with some great counters early on. Bryan was then caught in the tree of woe. Garcia with a hesitation drop kick. We had a big German suplex by Bryan. Coming back from commercial, Bryan kicked Garcia. Garcia answered back with some chops. Big backdrop driver. Bryan was able to kick out. All of a sudden, Bryan then with some chops. Bryan then with a triangle choke. And Bryan was able to get out of it. Bryan, all of a sudden, he was caught in the Dragon Tamer. He wrenched back. It was in deep. Bryan caught Garcia's head, but Garcia rolled through out of the Dragon Tamer, and Garcia delivered a pile driver, spiking Bryan right on his head. Garcia then with more kicks to the head, and all of a sudden, he couldn't help himself. Garcia did the dance. He ran at Bryan. Bryan with the Busaiku knee, turning Garcia inside out. A beautiful sell by Garcia. Busaiku knee, 1, 2, Garcia kicked out. Bryan then with the label lock. It was in deep. Garcia tried to crawl, but Garcia ended up passing out. Garcia passes out as Bryan Danielson goes up 6 points as we head into tonight on Collision, where we will see Andrade take on Bryan, and I'm actually very much looking forward to seeing what they do with Bryan and Andrade. And I actually do think that Andrade should take the win. I think Andrade is going to take the win right here. But all in all, Rampage was not a bad show. The first match and the last match on the show really brought the show up several pegs, and there was a lot to like about that Bryan and Garcia match. Ladies and gentlemen, that wraps up this edition of the Lightning Flash Update. You guys were awesome. I'd like to thank each and every single one of you for tuning into the stream. Do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Check out all the links in the description. We got NXT Deadline tonight, Ring of Honor Final Battle next Friday, and AEW World's End on December 30th. And then on top of that, I am going to be appearing at the Rockaway Mall. I'm going to be appearing at the Rockaway Mall on December 30th afternoon between 10 a.m. and 4 p.m. for Masters of Your Memories. It is going to be good. It's going to be real, real good. So if you guys are looking forward to Masters of Your Memories, you're in the New Jersey area, come on by. Rob Van Dam's going to be there. $1 Million Man Ted DiBiase is going to be there. Plenty of more individuals are going to be there. Of course, it's run by Tommy Fierro. Shout out to Tommy Fierro. We are going to have a wonderful time. Please make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Like I said, check out all the links in the description. Rewind for Deadline is tomorrow at 2 p.m. And then we got the rundown for Ring of Honor Final Battle with Hooligan this Thursday at 7:30 p.m. And then next Sunday, December 17th, it is going to be none other than the rewind for Ring of Honor Final Battle. That's going to be next Sunday at 2 p.m. with Hooligan again. Hooligan is going to be put to work. I'm putting Hooligan to work, and I ain't even fucking paying him. He's doing this shit for free for me. But regardless, ladies and gentlemen, yeah, I know. Rewind and Rundown. You're going to be on both shows, Hooligan. Rewind and Rundown. The Rewind and the Rundown. It's going to be a big weekend, for sure. It's going to be a big weekend for the both of us, and Final Battle looks pretty solid in itself. But nevertheless, I'm DJ Storms. This has been the lightning flash update. But before we get out of here, a very important question that all must answer. It is ultra vital that everybody knows who runs the IWC. I'll tell ya who, but DJ motherfucking Storms. And don't you ever forget it.
Cause we want retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution.